Hey, you over there. Yeah, I see you. You're thinking about starting your own podcast, aren't you? Well, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain because I have some experience here. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Totally free to record, edit, and distribute your podcast. It doesn't get any better than that. So download the Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. I hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving. Holiday seasons can be difficult seasons. I remember this one episode of The Golden Girls that sticks out in my head. It is so funny. It was Christmas time and everyone came back and they were complaining about how awful the shopping was. Everyone except for Sophia. Sophia walks in and she's got all of these gifts, all of these bags with her. And Dorothy asks her, how could you afford all of this? You know, Sophia's on Social Security. And she goes, with the credit card I found in your purse. And Dorothy was like, no, 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 no. You're taking all of that back. And Sophia was like, live a little, loosen up the purse strings. It's Christmas. It's a time for joy and etc. And so ultimately, the girls decide that they're going to take all of their stuff back and make gifts for each other, except for Sophia, who's like, my heart is with Ladies Apparel, fifth floor at Bloomingdale's or whatever. And she trots off. And it just underscores something really key about holiday seasons. People have no filters, no boundaries. They're invading your space. They're invading your wallet. They're making you feel like you have to perform. And it's all just one big ball of stress. I've got some explaining to do. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back. Hey, testing 1, 2, 3. I got a new microphone. And it sounds so much better than the old one. So the money that I spent on this makes me not cry as much as I did when I realized how much it was going to cost me. Now that I'm hearing myself, my recorded voice, I'm like, yes, it was worth it. Worth the investment. I want to thank the folks at the Wrath of Iotians podcast for their audio recommendations. I hit them up on Twitter just randomly, and one of the hosts sent me a bunch of information on how to make my audio better and also gave me some tips to follow and some good critiques and things, and I implemented some of them. One of them is the new microphone. Yay! But also I'm going to work on some other things as far as the mixing of the sound with the podcast. I'm still not where I want to be with that, but I'm here anyway. I showed up anyway. So, welcome to another episode of Ayana Explains It All, the podcast hosted by the Black Muslim lady lawyer, born and raised in the hood, living in the suburbs, single mama, ing it. I just had to experience Thanksgiving with my college-age son, and it was just, you really do appreciate people when they're not around. You learn to appreciate them more. I learned to appreciate my son's sense of humor, his maturity. I learned to trust him more. And seeing him these past few days was a reiteration of all of that, of reinforcing how I feel about him. I'm very proud of him. Very proud of my daughter, too. I hope she's not listening. Don't let your kids listen to this. I say that every podcast, but really, don't let your kids listen to this smut. I cuss, I make inappropriate jokes, I'm mean. No, I'm kidding. But my podcast, Ayana Explains It All, is available on 12 different platforms, including YouTube. My flagship is Anchor FM. I'm also on Apple Podcasts. I'm on iHeartRadio. I'm on Good Pods and Spotify and all those good places. You can also reach me on Instagram. Ayana Explains It All with an underscore between every word because I wanted to make life difficult for people. But also on TikTok, Ayana Explains It All Pod. Or you can email me at ayanaexplainsital@gmail.com. My name is spelled Ayana. Okay? Let's get into it. So, during Thanksgiving and the days leading up to it and the days after, I was reading about how people were feeling the anxiety they were feeling about seeing certain family members or having to interact with family. And people have friendsgivings before Thanksgivings. So people people you have chosen to be your family. These are your chosen people. These are your friends, your chosen loved ones, because you can't choose your family. People have the Friendsgiving and then they have like the regular family Thanksgiving. And I was reading different experiences people had in the moments leading up to these dinners and at the dinners. And some of them were humorous, and others of them were just like, oh my God, this is so sad. This is so sad. And it had to do with family members having their input, having their say in what a person is doing with their life, their relationship status, their career status, the kind of car they drive, the kind of clothes they wear, their sexuality, their religion, their where they live. I mean, anything people can find to pick on, they pick on, right? And it just gets worse from like Thanksgiving on. It just gets worse. And then you have Christmas and you're spending time with family even more after you've had the stress of having to look for and pay for gifts for people. You're buying gifts for your mom and your dad and your siblings and your nieces and nephews and your grandma and grandpa. And number one, you may not even have money for all of this, okay? That's one thing. That's the stress of having to pay for things that you buy for people. I had stress from paying for the food that I had to prepare for Thanksgiving. And when the dinner was done, I was just relieved. Oh my God. I was so relieved. I took the day off from work because I couldn't move. I was so full from all of the food and the cooking and the staying up late and talking. My sister came over, one of my sisters rather, came over and we had dinner with our kids. And oh gosh, it's definitely a different kind of Thanksgiving than it has been in previous years because my circle of people has gotten smaller. And for a very good reason, I have had to cut people off. And I also set boundaries with certain other people because I have had to deal with a lot of things that went on in my childhood and in my adulthood. And in doing so, it caused me to reevaluate the relationships that I had. And a lot of those relationships did not survive me working on myself and affirming myself and affirming my self-worth. I had to make a decision to let go of certain people. Some of them were toxic. Some of them were just half-hearted, half-ass connections that didn't really mean anything, didn't really serve a purpose in my life. So I cut them off. And others were just, you ghosted me, so whatever. You ghosted me and then you show up 10, 15 years later and you want to talk. Those relationships are cut off. All of that is cut off. So I have learned to achieve peace. I've achieved peace rather in my life, and I'm doing everything I can to protect it. And so my holiday seasons look a lot different. My Ramadan season, my Eid season, my Thanksgiving season. I mean, there's still that anxiety though that you're going to feel pressured to interact with people you don't fuck with, right? There's some people I just don't fuck with, and I don't want to interact with them either. But during the holidays, people who are in your life or just people you talk to every day, maybe at work, are telling you, well, you really need to talk to them, reach out to them, mend the ties, da 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 da, blah, 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 blah. But they don't understand the reason that you've had to make the decision to cut these people out of your life. They don't know the excruciating work you had to do to understand that these people being in your life was not healthy for you. They were not encouraging, they were not supportive. They were maybe toxic individuals. They were narcissistic, they were hurtful, harmful. They hurt you in the past. Whatever the case may be, you don't have to explain that to anyone, but you also don't have to have people telling you that you have to spend time with others during the holidays, that you have to buy them gifts, that you have to go visit. Because even spending a little bit of time with people who, are not supportive or who question you because of who you love or who you're married to or what your hair looks like, people don't understand that those matters for you are very important, but they're also private and they're personal to you. And you don't want to have to be questioned when you're just trying to have a fucking piece of turkey. I'm just here to have turkey and pie. I read this one tweet where the guy talked about how, and I don't know if this was maybe it was his great aunt or his aunt who was being very intrusive to his family on Thanksgiving. And it's because he's gay and she didn't agree with his sexuality. She didn't agree with it because she's, as she said, a Christian. Not that that means anything, but that's what she used to justify her hate of him. And so the day before Thanksgiving, because she had been disinvited, because she's, not honoring people's desire to not have her at their dinner, because she's intrusive, because she's rude, she's mean. Because of that, she had come over the day before Thanksgiving and left him a greeting card explaining, why she was upset because he's gay and she doesn't like gay people. He posted this on Twitter and I was laughing because this lady was insisting on showing up to the dinner anyway. And he was like, I said no. My mom said no. Don't show up. Don't do it. We're not going to let you in. And it's like, I was laughing, but at the same time, I'm thinking, damn, yes, we're not going to let you in. You're going to insist that we spend time with you, that we allow you in our house. You're going to insist that we have dinner with you. And we've already told you that we don't want to have anything to do with you because you're rude, because you're bigoted, because you're a jerk. And it's easier to not have you there than to have you there and listen to you berate this young man because he's gay. But it's the same thing with people who, you see the jokes about people who show up to dinner with their new boyfriend or new husband that the family doesn't really like, or the new girlfriend that the family doesn't really like. And people make all kinds of comments. People are just very rude. And that's not how you're supposed to be towards a guest. That's not how you're supposed to be towards anyone you're sharing a meal with. and it's a holiday, and you pick this time to pick apart a person's life, like this is the time where you should not be doing that. Those uncles and grandfathers and dads who pick apart your political beliefs, that's not the time for this. But if that's what you want to do, I mean, you can go back and forth with people, but really, why even waste your energy? Because they're not going to change their minds about you or about what you do or who you are or what you think. It's better for you, and this is just my opinion, it's better for you to love them if you want to from a distance. And yes, you can love people from a distance. You can put space between you and the people who are not supportive of you, who are talking shit about you, who every time they see you, they're in your face about things that you do and places you go. Oh, you're a single woman and you're out here doing this and doing that, and you're going here and going there. You should be settling down and getting a husband and having kids and da 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 da. No, you can love those people from a distance. And if you choose to, because sometimes even loving people from a distance, they find a way to worm to get their opinions about you into your life. They might tell someone who you rock with every day, and then that person is telling you the things that that person said. Or like this aunt, they might show up to your house with a greeting card and insist that you listen to them. They might show up at your house, in your driveway and ringing your doorbell or calling you on the phone and insisting that you talk to them. That's when you have to cut people off completely. That's when you have to cut them off completely. And since this is about boundaries, and holidays are some of the worst times. Holidays are when you literally have to be strong when it comes to your boundaries. If you're a person who is a people pleaser, if you're a person who can't say no, if you're a person who you do not trust your decisions, if you're a person who has trauma or hurt or an abusive situation that you haven't dealt with, boundaries are going to be hard for you. They just are. You're not going to have any. You don't have any. You don't know how to have them. And when you have them, you don't know how to keep them. You don't trust the decisions you've made about them. You don't trust your own decision making because you have been made to feel like your decisions are incorrect. You don't know how to speak up for yourself. You don't know how to stand up for yourself. You don't have any self-worth. You don't know what your value is because it's been chipped away, it's been whittled away. You haven't had any time really to think about who you are. So you struggle with being authentic. And your goal most of the time is to garner. And your goal most of the time is to garner acceptance. And so every time you make a decision, somebody tells you, no, that's the wrong one, you adjust yourself. You adjust yourself to fit into what they find acceptable so that you can gain their love again. You really want to be loved by people. You really want to be welcomed by people. You don't want people to feel put out. You want people to be drawn to you. And that's fine if you want people to be drawn to you. But you have to want the right kind of people to be drawn to you. You want to be invited to the holiday parties. You don't want to be excluded. Listen, if you're someone who, disagrees with your nephew or your grandson being gay and you don't want to be around a person who's gay, you don't want to be around, if you're someone who disagrees with your son or your daughter, they've converted to Islam and you don't want to be around a Muslim, that's your business. That is your business. Because their religion, their sexuality is their business. And it is not your job to try to change people so that they fit into the mold that you find palatable, that you find acceptable, that would want you to be around them. Everybody is entitled and free to be who they are. Now, we can talk all day about what's right and wrong and right and wrong. That's fine. You're most likely not going to convince people by forcing them to accept you. You're not going to convince them that whatever you're doing is the right thing to do. It's the right thing by virtue of you doing it, and you're health and safe. You're healthy and safe while you're doing it. You're happy while you're doing it. That's it. They don't have to like it. They don't have to agree with it. But you don't have to force yourself on them. They don't have to force their whatever on you. You can actually not interact with them at all. And you can be in a room with these people and you don't have to interact with them at all. And they might get in your face, and you know what you do? Walk away. Do not engage them. You don't even have to say hello to them. This is how good you're going to get at setting boundaries. You'll see these people in a room and you'll just walk right past them. They'll be trying to flag you down because people cannot help themselves. They hate being ignored. A lot of people hate being ignored. They don't like it when they're not the star of the show. And yes, some of these people are toxic people and narcissists and whatever, but they're all other kinds of personalities. They don't like it when they're not the star of the show. So they're going to try to make themselves the star of the show. And you are going to have to ignore it. People will try to draw you into their drama. They will try to draw you into their lives. They'll play on your sympathies. You're going to have to be firm in setting boundaries with them, because when these people come back into your life, you know what happens? It's unsettling. It is unsettling and it disturbs your peace. And imagine you've spent years, like I've spent, the last several years working on healing so that I can know what are healthy and unhealthy ties and relationships and behaviors and attitudes. Imagine I undid all of that work just to have people back in my life who have only disturbed my peace, who have only used me, who have only neglected me, who have only abused me. Just for the sake of having them back, just for the sake of having that relationship back, just for the sake of, because somebody told me that it was the right thing to do. Religion and religious people are very good at putting that pressure on you to not walk away from things. Stay, try to make it work. Try to make it work out. This is your family, or this is your place of worship. This is such and such. Stay, try to make it work out. This is your marriage. You have kids. Try to work it out. Meanwhile, you're battered and bruised externally, internally. You're emotionally drained. You have nothing to draw from because everything's been taken from you. And people are telling you, no, go ahead, stop. Just work it out. Work on it for a little while. Or pray about it. Lord above. If one more MFer says to me, pray on it, I am going to scream. I hate hearing that so much. And you know why? Sometimes, a lot of times, you already know the answer, but you do not trust yourself to make a decision. And so praying about it, it's just putting space between you and this tough decision that you have to make. And you're sitting around, you're waiting for some sign from God because he's a magician, right? You're sitting around, you're waiting. And all of these things have already been revealed to you. You're suffering, you're suicidal, you're anxiety ridden, you're depressed, you can't sleep, you can't eat, your appetite's been affected, or you're overeating to deal with the pain. or you're having to do this, do that, dash here and there, and do things for people when no one is doing anything for you. You're constantly being called on for the answer. You're constantly being asked for favors. You've already been shown the answer, but you're afraid to pull the trigger, so to speak. You're afraid to do it. You're afraid to say, stop, I cannot do this anymore. I need to walk away. I need to walk away to find me, to heal me, to do for me. No, I'm not showing up to Christmas dinner because so and so is going to be there. And every time I'm there, they say something to me about the clothes that I'm wearing or the shoes that I have on, or they're constantly asking me when I'm going to get married or when I'm going to have kids or what am I going to go to college for or when am I going to go to college or when am I going to. They're constantly questioning me. So, no, I'm not going to show up. Thank you for extending the invitation, but no, I don't want to put myself through that. I don't want to go to an Eid party or an Eid dinner. No, I don't want to go because when I go, people ask me, when are you going to get married again? Are you going to have more kids? How come you're doing this with your life? I heard you on that podcast. How come you cuss? How come you talk about these things on your podcast? Da, 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 da. I choose what I choose. And protecting my space and my peace are very important to me because when my peace is invaded, what happens to me? I don't want to tell you what happens to me because it's not good. It's very ugly. But I do have depression and anxiety, and those things spiral out of control. The anxiety is from me not trusting the decisions that I'm making. And so I can't make a decision at all. Everything is agonizing. I don't want to be around people because I'm scared to be around people. I'm withdrawn. I'm sad. I'm miserable. I don't want to get out of bed because when I get out of bed, I have to do a million tasks for other people and no one is helping me. And so when I allow these forces into my life and disturb my peace, that is what happens. And maybe that happens to you too. When you go to these parties, when you go to these dinners, when you're forced to interact with people who are not supportive of you, who are not your friends, who don't love you, who are not people who love you, period. When you're forced to interact with them, you feel sick to your stomach. You got diarrhea before you even get there because you're so scared. You are so scared. People are going to ask you what happened to your job. People are going to ask you why you're always borrowing money. People are going to ask you to borrow money. People are going to ask you what happened to that girlfriend you had last year. You don't want to answer any of these questions. And so you're sick to your stomach thinking about having to interact with people. You just want to go there, party, party a little bit. Maybe record some TikTok dance videos with your people. Eat, mostly. Shit. I know me. I want to eat. I don't want to talk. I don't want to get into life stuff. It's like that episode of Seinfeld where Elaine was like, "I'll go if I don't have to talk." And that's how I am about a lot of social stuff. I'll go if I don't have to talk. Now, I can tell some jokes. I can interact with people, float around the room, be funny, blah 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 blah. But there are certain places I will only go if I don't have to talk to people. That's what happens to people. When you don't want to be in a certain situation, that's what comes from not knowing how to set healthy boundaries. You put yourself in places where you are not comfortable, and so you don't interact with anyone. You don't want to be there. You're showing up late because you don't really want to be there. And then as soon as it's over, you're the first one out the door. Because again, you didn't really want to be there to begin with. How about if you don't want to go, you don't go? You ever been forced to go somewhere by a spouse, a partner, a parent, or a friend? They're like, oh, come out, come out, come on. You'll have fun. It'll be fun. Or you have to go to a family gathering and it's just agonizing and you're just looking at your clock. Or you escape to a room and just go chill. I remember doing that a lot. I would just go find some place to just not be seen or heard. Just sit and just wait for it to be over. Because the get-togethers with my the maternal side of my family, I didn't really spend too much time with my dad's side, but the maternal side, yeah, Lord above, it was always tense, very tense, very tense. It was the 4th of July's, it was Thanksgivings, it was birthday parties. Somebody was always going to be arguing and yelling and fighting. And by the time I got old enough and I had kids, I decided that I didn't, when they got to a certain age, I didn't want them to be around that. I didn't want them to see it. I didn't want them to hear it. I don't raise them like that. There's no yelling and screaming in my house. There's none of that dysfunction. There's no drinking. There's no drugs. I didn't want to expose them to any of that. I was exposed to all of that. One day I decided I was done. I was done dealing with all of that. And I stopped going. And my kids sometimes when they, go to get-togethers, they go without me. They want to see people, they want to spend time with people. And I tell them, I encourage them, have your own feelings about this. Have your own feelings about this. Have your own opinion. I encourage them to feel how they want. I don't try to control their opinion of people. I don't try to control their opinion of situations. I say, if you feel safe, if you feel welcomed, go. But I ain't going. No, ma'am. I'm very good at that. I'm very good at saying no. I used to be the one who said yes to every fucking thing. I was a people pleaser. I cared about everyone's opinion of me. I tried to adjust myself to be what everyone fucking wanted me to be, and I was miserable. 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 I was so unhappy. I was suicidal. Because when you're trying to please everyone, no one gets pleased because nobody will ever be pleased with you. Because that is not the point. The point is for them to just whittle you down, whittle you down, whittle you down, use you, use you, use you, use you, use you, take from you, take from you, take from you, take from you. You're never going to be able to please. Because pleasing is not the goal. Using is the goal. Abusing is the goal. So yeah, I was all of these things. And now I've learned to set healthy boundaries, love people from afar, love on my terms. Like, have you ever been ghosted? Listen, have you ever been ghosted by someone? We know what ghosting is. It's a person who just drops all communication with you, just flat out stops communicating. They might even disappear from social media. They might change their phone number. They might block you and they don't speak to you for months or years or whatever. It could be anyone. It usually happens with romantic partners, but I've seen it in friendships too. And then, out of nowhere, the person sends you a DM or a text message, or they stop by. And it's been 10 years maybe. And they're like, hey, hi, I know it's been a while. I'm so sorry I stopped communicating. I'm so sorry I never took your calls. I'm so sorry I didn't answer your emails, blah, 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 blah. But I just wanted you to know that I'm so sorry and I hope that we could fix this and make it better and be friends again, or we can mend our relationship again. And two things will happen. If you're a person who doesn't trust your decision making, you don't know how to set healthy boundaries, you're going to let that person back into your life. You're just going to let them waltz right back in. And they will. No, it'll be like nothing ever happened. It'll be like no time had passed at all. Or you'll be like the person who knows how to set healthy boundaries because they've healed They've learned to deal with their depression and anxiety and whatever else they have going on, and their childhood trauma and their past, their history of abuse and et cetera, et cetera. They've learned, they've dealt with it. They've dealt with all of that. They are affirmed. They know their worth. That person is going to completely ignore the person who ghosted them. Completely ignore. Completely. And they'll try everything they can think of to get to you. I've I had somebody just absolutely ridiculous go to my parents' house and try to get messages to me through my parents. DMs, texts, phone calls with made up shit. And I've said no every time. No, no, no. I do not care. I do not care. That is not my problem. I don't speak to that person anymore. That person is not in my life anymore. I don't want to have anything to do with them. And they could be a good person, bad person, doesn't matter. I've decided that I no longer want to have communication of any kind with this person. Don't send me messages through people. Don't be in my DMs. Don't send me emails or voicemails or snail mails. Don't do it. I'm not going to respond or answer any of them. Some people will take the hint and leave you the fuck alone. Some people will keep trying. But you reaffirm that this is not a bond. This is not a relationship, not a friendship that you want to continue in any way whatsoever, because it's not going to serve any purpose for you. These relationships don't serve you. These half-hearted connections, they do not serve you. They are not good for you. You have the power to say who can be in your life and who can't. You have the power. Why are you not using it? Why are you not exercising it? Because you do not know how. And that is especially true of people who have unresolved trauma, especially childhood trauma. You don't know. You do not know who is safe and who isn't. Because you were told that everyone was supposed to be safe. And you were told that this person who's beating the shit out of you, or this person who is molesting you, you're supposed to love them anyway. Because maybe they were a family friend, or they were in your family. They were someone you were married to. You're told that this person is someone you're supposed to love no matter what. And so because of these relationships, because of your childhood, because of your teenage years, because of you may have been in a toxic abusive marriage, because of that, you don't know how to set healthy boundaries. And so when people ghost you and then pop up after a few years, you just take them back because you're just so happy to have them back. You're so happy that they wanted to be back in your life because, oh my God, your life has been so empty without them. No. Why is your world empty when someone walks out? If you had a life that you wanted, a life that you built that was worth anything to you, when someone leaves, your life is not empty. When someone leaves, you're okay. You're hurt. You're hurting. You feel sad, but your life is not empty. There's no way someone leaving could completely empty you, could void you. How is that possible unless you had nothing to begin with? Unless you had not built a life for yourself to begin with? Unless when you were with them, you became completely immersed in this person, wrapped up in this person, in this relationship, and doing for them. And everything you did was for them and about them and with them. And so now that they're gone, you find it hard to carry on. You can't. Your life is empty. It doesn't make any sense to me now Like, if I had this conversation maybe 3 years ago, I'd been like, "Yes, oh, I get it, I get it. I love him, and he loved me, and now my world is falling apart, it's so empty." Now I'm like, "Well, that's what he wants to do, then I I can't do anything. My life will be fine. I'll be fine. I will be fine. I will be fine." Because I've built a life for myself that I want to be in, and that having friends in it is great. Having a partner, a romantic partner, a husband, it's great. But we're not all going to have each other all the time. People walk away, people ghost you, people die, people break up. So what are you going to do? You're going to fall apart every time somebody leaves, every time somebody walks away? A person who has all of this unhealed trauma and hurt and pain, yeah, they're going to fall apart. A person who has dealt with their shit is not going to fall apart. And that's the other thing about boundaries. Boundaries are not to be used until you have dealt with your shit with people. Until you have dealt with the problem you have, setting a boundary with the person is just a way of you denying what's happening, a way of you denying that there's anything wrong. Setting a boundary with a person has to be done after you've had a conversation with them about how you're not going to tolerate certain behaviors, about how you're not going to tolerate certain words. Once you do that, once you deal with your shit with people, then you can set a boundary. A boundary should not be used as a way to prevent having a difficult conversation with someone. It should not be used as a way to prevent you from making a difficult decision. You just put space between you and the person, or you and the decision. No, you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. Say what you need to say, move on. Do what you need to do, move on. You put up, a fence between you and a person that you have unsettled shit with, that shit's still going to be there, and it's going to fuck with you. It really is. And you're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel guilt because there was something you were supposed to do, but you decided that you were not going to deal with it. Having boundaries and not dealing with shit are not the same thing. Not the same thing. And then having boundaries but not dealing with your shit, your internal stuff, you're not going to be able to maintain those boundaries. I saw this quote on Twitter. It's from the account Seek Cindy on Twitter, and she says, "When you first start to draw boundaries and practice selfishness after several years of being programmed towards people-pleasing and codependency, you will be triggered to experience feelings of guilt or the villain archetype. Ignore it and proceed anyway. It is also highly common, particularly for people who were marginalized as children, to wonder if they are engaging in the same practices as those who hurt them when young. They're not. There's a difference between reinforcing boundaries and simply being mean. Boundaries truly exist to protect the interests of both, even if only one can recognize this at the time. There is a difference between reinforcing boundaries and simply being mean. Boundaries truly exist to protect the interests of both, even if only one can recognize this at the time. And what do some healthy boundaries sound like? These are very simple. 1. I don't need advice right now. I just need to vent. How many of you were given unsolicited advice this Thanksgiving? About your weight, about your relationships, about your kids, about your career? When you just wanted to vent, You just wanted to vent to people about what's going on in your life, and they take that as an opportunity to give you advice, you know, because we're all just advice seeking, right? None of us just want to talk. No, you're talking to me. You're telling me all your business so I can give you advice, right? And then when you don't take the advice, what do? They get upset. We are not looking for advice every time we talk about our problems. I know I'm not. I'm not looking for advice. I just need to get this shit out. Here's another. I am not okay with you making jokes about dot dot dot. And this is a biggie. Holidays, holiday dinners are a big time for people to be complete jackasses for some reason. They want to joke about immigrants. They want to joke about people of different races, blacks, Mexicans, uh, Asians. People want to joke about gay people or trans people. They think that shit is funny. People want to joke about abortion and political beliefs and et cetera, et cetera. They want to joke about people with developmental disabilities. They want to joke about you. They want to joke about, you have acne, or you have, you're skinny or you're fat or whatever, the way that you dress. Tell them that you are not okay with them making jokes about whatever it is they're joking about. And they're either going to shut up or you're going to walk away. But what you're not going to do is take someone joking about something that is important to you, that is vital to you, that you know is wrong. They're saying things that you know are wrong. You don't have to shout them down to try to convince them that they're wrong and they're not funny. Just simply say, I'm not okay with you making jokes about that. And they're either going to stop talking to you or you're going to lead the conversation. Here's another. When people ask you to do something for them, take them somewhere, give them something, do a favor for them, what do you say? Yes? No. You say, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Because you do have to think about it. Because it's going to cost you time, or it's going to cost you money, or it's going to cost you, they want to come crash on your couch, or it's going to cost you having to spend extra hours at work. It's going to cost you something. And so you need to think about whether you want to do this. And guess what? You can say no. You can say no. And you don't need an excuse. You don't need a reason. Just say no. And if people are unwilling or they go, oh, come on, come on, come on. No, 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 no. And don't give in. Don't change your mind, because they will try to get you to say yes. This is what toddlers do. This is what children do. Children will ask you the same question a bunch of different times until you're worn down and you say yes. They know that you will eventually say yes because you've said yes all the other times. They ask you 7 times, you say no. The 8th time, you say yes. So they know if they just keep asking, or they know when to ask, when you're tired, when you're working and not really paying attention, and you just want them to go away and be quiet. And so you're going to say yes. But you need to think about what you're being asked. You need to think about what you're being asked for, or what you're being asked to do. Another one is, this is a big one. People love to gossip. They love to tell you other people's business. Love it. They love to disparage other people to you. They love to talk about people. The small minds talk about people. Great minds talk about ideas. Some people are just talking about other people, about their lives, their marriages, their children, their jobs, their, criminal history, their money. Tell them I don't feel comfortable gossiping. And they're either again going to stop with you or you're going to walk away. You're going to not interact with that person because you know every time you talk to them they're only gossiping. And you have the power to do it. You do not have to engage in anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. I'm setting boundaries of the ideas and the conversations that I want entering my brain. I don't want gossip to be one of them. I don't want talking about people to be one of them. I don't want spreading people's business to be one of them. Here's another thing you can say to people that's a healthy boundary. I'm struggling with my own mental health right now, so I can't give you the full support you need. Imagine communicating that you're struggling, and so you can't be the one for them. And usually people will be, empathetic. They'll be like, "Okay, I get it, I understand." But there are those people who do not give a fuck, who will tell you, "Snap out of it. You're depressed. Snap out of it." Oh, he can't go to the fireworks show because he's got PTSD. Snap out of it. Oh, she can't go to the grocery store because she's anxious. Snap out of it. Oh, go talk to a therapist. Maybe you should get on a pill or something. And they're just really gross about what you're going through. You're going to find people like that. I used to have a lot of people tell me to just snap out of it. Just snap out of it. Believe me, if snapping my fingers or snapping out of something worked, I'd be the wealthiest, prettiest, most successful, happiest girl on earth. Snap. You hear that? Oh, snap again. Oh, I'm completely healthy, completely healed. Thanks. I feel great now. No. Mm-mm. Those people, those are the people you really need to cut out of your life. Because when you tell someone your troubles, your pain, and they laugh at you or they minimize it, oh, those people don't give a fuck about you, and they never will. They are never going to. There is not anything you can say or do, any way to adjust yourself to make them care about you. You are only going to serve to be available to them. That's it. Meanwhile, you're dealing with all this unhealthy shit you got going on. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody around you cares. The one person who's supposed to be your support is the person who is also hurting you, is the person you also need to set boundaries with. How are you going to do that? A person who supports you does not also diminish you. They do not also put you down. They do not also dismiss what you have going on, what your needs and wants and concerns are. They do not dismiss your health concerns so that you can be available for them. Those are not people you need in your life. And I would encourage you to cut those people off, out, by. You're not going to get healthy with those people still around. You just aren't. You are not. They are never going to respect the work that you need to do, the time that you need to put into it. They're going to wonder why you are not available for them, why you're not around, why you're not there to serve them, why you can't do things. They're going to treat you miserably. They're not going to show concern for you. They're not going to be patient with you. They're not going to wait for you. And if you really want to heal, you're going to separate yourself from these people. And it might result in you never talking to them again. Or it might result in you having to love them from afar. Whatever it is, it'll be what's best for you. You are doing what is best for you. You don't have to spend holidays with people who tear you down. My God. Say no. No. The word no and mean no is one of the healthiest boundaries you could ever have. You could ever give to yourself. That gift right there saying no. Just say no. I tell people this all the time. I tell my kids this especially. If the answer is yes, say yes. But if the answer is no, say no. Don't agree to do things you don't really want to do. Don't say yes to the no things. And don't say no to the yes things. This is when you really have to take the time to think about what you're being asked to do, where you're being asked to go, what you're being asked to give of yourself. But when you don't know how to set healthy boundaries, when you've been just completely pummeled on the inside, emotionally, mentally, when you don't know how to do that, you're going to say yes to everything, every favor, can you drive me here? Can you let me borrow? Can you let me use? Can you pick up this shift for me? Can you do my work for me? Can you do my chores for me? Can you write papers for me? I used to write papers. I used to write papers for my spouses. I used to write papers. I used to help them with a lot of shit. Let's say yes to everything. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to take over everything. Because it made their life easier. And if their life was easier, then I guess my life was easier? No, my life was just harder. It was just harder. It was already hard. It was just harder. Nobody was taking my shit. Imagine having to deal with all of your shit, plus all of somebody else's shit, plus whatever the household shit is. Whatever you got going on, you got school, you got, your job. That's what I was doing for years. Years. That's what I was doing. I wish I had known that saying no was an option. I wish I had known that saying no was an option. Sometimes people who don't know how to set healthy boundaries have a fear of being abandoned. But most of all, you deserve boundaries. You deserve respect. Understand that your feelings matter. When you have been traumatized or abused, you're conditioned to think that your thoughts don't matter, your opinions don't matter, your feelings don't matter. Or when you've been through these things and you don't trust anyone, you start to I don't want to say act paranoid, but you think things are what they are not. And you put thoughts and ideas in your head about people, and you don't trust anyone. You don't believe when people say things to you. You don't believe the information that you're told. How about you challenge your thoughts and not take your beliefs about you and about the world around you as facts? We do this with ourselves a lot. We beat ourselves up. How about you challenge those ideas? Trust yourself. Be sure, feel sure when you make a decision, when you use your voice, when you feel something in your gut, what that intuition is telling you, trust it. And remember, setting boundaries with people, especially toxic individuals, is important. For the toxic, and remember, setting boundaries for people is important, especially toxic individuals, because they have a skewed view of the world and they're sticking to it. They don't care about the truth. They don't care about facts. They can dispense with people's feelings. They don't care about your feelings, anybody's feelings. They don't care. They don't care what you have to say. They don't care what you think. They know what they know. They're going to do what they do. Those are people you need to set boundaries with the most. First. Read that as first. They will tell a story that makes them look good, that makes them look like the victim, and it'll be all your fault. And before you know it, you're questioning if setting a boundary with them is the right thing to do, and maybe you should go back and readjust and think about what you've done, and maybe you're wrong. Maybe I didn't do the right thing. You'll feel guilt. This is the other thing when it comes to setting boundaries. You will feel so fucking guilty. You are going to feel so guilty. And what you're going to have to learn to do is let go of that guilt. That is one thing I've had to learn how to do, is to let go of the guilt. I feel tremendous guilt sometimes. Am I doing the right thing? Like, so I'll be doing a task and it'll just pop in my head. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? And you know what happens when I say that? I have to reinforce in my mind the reason that I set the boundary. I have to remember and I have to trust that I did it for the right reasons, because look, my life is peaceful. Alhamdulillah, my life is peaceful. I love it. So it can't be a mistake, right? The chaos and the drama and all of that craziness that was there before, that little ball of dirt being thrown in my face every day, that was stressing me out. I was so stressed out. I have very little stress now. The only stress I have now is from my house, really. There's always something breaking in this damn thing. Or, my kids, although they're pretty settled, thank God. But there's always something with kids. They're unpredictable. But the stress is normal stress. It's not undue stress. It's not stress that's being brought into my life, that I'm inviting into my life. It's normal stress. The normal stress of just being alive and being a lawyer, having a career, having a mortgage, having kids, finances, whatever, having to pick out a new car, whatever. It's normal stress. There's that, and then there's the stuff that you invite into your life by having people in your life or engaging in activities that make you feel unsettled and unwelcomed and unloved and unsupported and used and abused and mistreated and unheard. Those are the situations you need to separate yourself from. And once you learn to trust that you know how to do that, and you trust your decision making, you will be so much better off. These holidays and holidays from years to come, you will not feel the pressure. You will not feel the stress. You will feel lighter. And that's what we all want, right? We want to feel lighter. We want to feel less burdened. We want an easy time. I don't want to go to dinner with somebody who's just going to pick me apart. God, that sounds awful. I don't care who the fuck they are. Grandma, mom, uncle, neighbor, I don't know. No, no. No. No is the best gift that you can give to yourself and to others this holiday season. And this has been Ayana Explains It All, brought to you by facts, figures, and enlightenment. Take care.